Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan here for my daily video. And today on your calendar, when you look at your calendar, it says Blueberry Day. And I even have a blueberry up on the calendar because it is World Blueberry Day or something like that. So today we're going to share a blue quilt, a quilt that you've done that has a lot of blue in it. So I've left my Liberty Hill up from the holiday book, my new holiday book, so that you can see it again. And actually in reality it's going to have to come down now because I need to photograph quilts up there. But I've enjoyed having it hanging here with the red version. It's been fun to have them both in the room. I can't pick a favorite because I love them both. I love the blue as much as the red. Yes. So let's look at a few blue quilts of mine from the archives, from the gathering of the quilts. So I have two basket quilts first that are blue. Then I have a light blue one to show you. So here is a basket quilt that I did many years ago with a pieced basket. I believe it was probably in a magazine first. I think it was in like Fons and Porter. But the fun thing about this one is at the Virginia Quilt Museum, at the time the curator, Joan Knight, contacted me and they were doing an exhibit that had basket quilts in it, and she asked me if I would lend them this quilt. And I was shocked. I mean, really, I was shocked. I was like, oh my goodness, this is not museum quality. It's like, And she's like, no, we want it. And so I actually was given then this wonderful label to put on my quilt. So yes, this is a keeper for me. This is a keeper. And it's fun. Yeah, I love basket quilts. I've got quite a few quilts with baskets on them. At one point I would tell people that, if I could put a basket on every quilt, I probably would, but then you would be bored. So that one was fun. Here's the one that's a bit bigger, a similar shaped basket, but it's all, there's no patchwork in the basket. So this is bigger and it's got some stars. This again was in a magazine way many years ago. And I will be loading this up to the gallery where you can see a better picture of it. So there's the best I can do holding it. And since you want to see the backs of some of these, I do a lot of patchwork backs in the past. Now I like wide backs, but I do a lot of patchwork backs. So just a bunch of fabrics there. Now remember, when I'm showing you these quilts, most likely there's not going to be a pattern because I did a ton of quilts for magazines, and some of those magazines don't even exist anymore. They're out of business or they've consolidated with other magazines, and so it's just impossible to link the pattern. If I can find the pattern and link to it, it will be in my gallery or down below in the description box here. And while you're looking there for what's there, click the subscribe button so we can be friends. Mwah, mwah. Okay, I'll show you another couple of quilts here from the gallery. Here's a tiny one that has a lot of blue on it. Once again, it was for a magazine. This was back in 2003. Back then, I was doing work primarily for the McCall's Quilting family of magazines. They had 2 or 3 different publications, and also Fons and Porter. And then eventually I started with American Patchwork and Quilting magazine. So those are the primary magazines that you will find my things in. It's a cute little coffee cup. Ta-da! Fresh. Yes, this was an American Patchwork and Quilting. I might be able to find that link. I'll see if they have it online at all. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they have them online. Okay, let's see. We'll do 2 more. This one is sort of aquas. I have to research a bit what, probably does not matter which way I turn it, what I did this for. I think it was for, I don't know. I remember it, but I don't know what I did it for. And I was not real good at writing that on the label, unfortunately. It was in 2007. If any of you recognize it, what I did it for. My thing is, people have asked, and I'm going to do I'm going to do a follow-up video tomorrow with all these questions that you've been asking. But one of the things is, like, I have photos of quilts. I have photos of almost all my quilts. The problem is they're sorted in a way that is not how I can easily get to them. They're also in archives because I've been in business 21 years, which means a lot of my older data is off in archives. So that means I would have to bring them back in, the archives back in. It's easier for me just to take a picture. And the name that I might have called it when I sent to the magazine often made up their own name for projects to go with the theme of the magazine or whatever was happening. So if I didn't go back and redocument that, you know, which I often didn't do, it came back and I was like on to the next thing. So that's the way it is when you run a small business with just two people, Greg and I. Like that kind of a thing over time, it didn't come to be the real important. Now 21 years later, it's like, dang, I wish I had done that, but I didn't. I know this one was a challenge. American Patchwork and Quilting, they've done this for different years. They've given 2 or 3 different patterns and then people sew along. So this was the year they did this pattern. I made one which is kind of scrappy with a whole bunch of different fabrics, and the back of it is polka dots, all one fabric. And I actually did not even write on the label for this one, but I love, love, love this binding. Look at that binding. So I can find this one on their website, or I can even write to the editors that I've worked with for years and just say, what year was that challenge? And I can find that challenge on their website. So that one won't be any problem. All right, a few other things. Today, we had a couple of summer soiree twinkle light blocks come out yesterday. Just a few of you made the block, so I want to put a couple of pictures up here so that you can see them. What I love about these sew-alongs is, one is your energy. Your energy is just amazing. It makes me happy, it makes me excited, it makes everybody else in the group excited when you share and talk about your block. So hopefully when you share your block, say something about it, because that's what brings everybody together. So there were a few of the blocks from our friends at our community, and a few of those were pictures from the website. So I just got them off of the quilt show sharing that I have at the end of the post. Yes. All right, I want to show you what I decided for the quilt from my friend Cheryl's book. Her book, Just One Charm Pack. Remember I had some fabrics and I wasn't sure what fabric I wanted to use, whether which solids, and I gave you 3 different options, and probably some of you didn't even like those, but I gave them to you to see. I am doing, I have it in here, I am doing the one called Bow Tie. So this is the one I'm doing. I think it's pretty nifty. It's a great block. You could do scrap busting with this if you didn't want to use a charm pack, but one charm pack and you get a quilt, amazing. You must have this book. So what did I have? I had a few different options for fabric, and one of them was the green. Now I did have that red and blue, and several of you said to me, you've already done a lot of red and blue. Like Morrison Park is a heavy red and blue, and I used the reds and blues heavily in the Morrison Park. I just did the garden path, which was the free pattern, and even the social lights was heavy on the red and blue. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go with the green. I like the aqua, but the blocks don't really have any aqua in them, even though I think it would still look nice. I thought I will go with the green. Now and then I needed blue. Okay, so here's the true confession. That navy, which I don't have it here anymore, but that navy that I showed you in the picture, I'll pop a picture up here. That navy, I don't like it. I do not like that fabric at all. Ever since I've bought that navy solid, I have tried to use it, and people tell me this all the time, that you do the same thing. You would come to my workshops and you say, I don't like this fabric, I'm going to try to use it today. And I'm thinking in my head, no, I just told you out loud. I told you out loud, you're probably not going to use it, because if you don't like it, you're never going to like it when you cut it up and put it in the quilt any more than when you have it in your hand. It's just how it seems to work for most of us. A few of you get over it and use it, but a majority of it, if we don't like it, it's not going to get any better when we cut it up. So I don't like that navy. And I thought, I'm not going to go buy any navy. I'm going to go look for some navy. So I went hunting around, and I did find a piece of navy print, which I was very excited because apparently I have no other piece of navy solid at all that was at all. So I found this navy, which is awesome. It is from my friend Joanna Figueroa. It is called, it was from her Aloha Girls, which this is perfect. It actually is perfect, and I had enough, because the other thing I discovered when I went in my bin of navy fabrics is I don't have enough half-yard pieces. I have a lot of fat quarters because I get fat quarter bundles, or I get the color bundles from the fat quarter shop, and those are fat quarters. You know, I get curated bundles, they're fat quarters, and fat quarters are wonderful, but when you have a project, there's lots of times that's not enough fabric. And I could have gone scrappy. I could have gone and gotten a 2 or 3 blues for this quilt, because I definitely think that those squares on here, those definitely could have been multiple fabrics. They did not need to be all the same fabric. But since I found this one, success! So these are the 2 that I'm using. Now the charm pack, I've got them ready to go, ready to sew. But there were more, you don't use all the pieces in the charm pack for that quilt. There's some that you don't use. So I decided to remove, first of all, just remove all the green, because it's a slightly different green. And so I removed that. And then I took out all of these duplicates. There's one of these, but then there were duplicates. So I took out the duplicates of them. And now so I just have, you know, like however many it is that I'm not using, 8 or something. And those will go back into stash, or to my friend who uses those up. So now I am ready to go on this project. Ready, ready, ready. Yes. Okay. Yesterday, when I talked about tidying up your threads, and I mentioned maybe sewing off on spools that were almost finished, I showed you my white thread. Ta-da! I finished it. I finished that spool of white thread, and I actually have a jar. I don't have it with me here to show you, but I have a jar that I'm putting all the empties in so I can count how many spools I have empty. Because I have so many spools of thread, it's hard for me to actually empty them unless I consistently keep one on there, because I tend to change them out and change colors. I also wound off 2, not 1, but 2 bobbins. So I got 2 empty bobbins now, and that's the bobbin boat. So those are ready for, I just feel good. Like I got those cleared up. There was a question that came in that kind of had to do with this. Elizabeth asked, when I'm piecing, what color thread do I normally use? Well, normally I use something fairly neutral, and it might be tans or light grays, you know, different shades of that. I have a Aurifil thread box called the Perfect Box of Neutrals, and so here's a picture of that, and that is sort of my go-to. But I will use other colors. Like I don't have any spools here right now. Do I? Well, here's 2 of the colors that you can just see, the tans and the there's like tans and grays. But if I have a spool of pink that's almost done, I will sew with pink. If I have spools of light blue, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sew with black when I have very light patchwork, because that black thread can shadow through. And if I have black or deep navy or dark green, I'm not going to sew with white thread. I want something that will blend in if there's a little bit of pull, so you don't see the thread, you know, on the dark to light. For light fabric, I don't want to use a dark thread because I just don't want that shadow. That you'll see it. Okay, so someday I should do a little bit longer talk on thread color. So if you like that idea, leave me a note. All right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. See you online.